Hi, we're here at UK Games Expo. We're talking to Eric Lang, and if you don't know who Eric Lang is, he is the One Direction of board game creators. Eric.
The One Direction.
Yep.
I'm the tall one and the nasty one and the good-looking singer.
And the one that left, apparently.
Oh yeah, I love the band. I'm done.
Eric, how are you enjoying UK Games Expo?
I love it. I love these intimate conventions,
Yep.
but they run in a hotel. But it's big. It's like 6,000-7,000 people.
Yeah.
So it seems like the best of both worlds: clean, organized, no issues, and I still get to hang out with fans a lot. Which is great.
Have you got lost yet? Because we keep getting lost. It's like a maze.
Well, so I grew up traveling a lot, and I spent a lot of time at Frankfurt Airport. And
Okay.
if you can navigate that, you can navigate the world.
Fine. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning of you as a designer.
The beginning.
The beginning. Tell us how did it all start?
Well, on the first day, when I've been playing games since I was like 8 years old.
Yeah.
I visit my grandmother in Germany every summer, and we would just play games.
Yeah.
Terrible mass market German games that I think are hopefully not anymore, but like basically all Parcheesi clones that you just roll die and move guys forever. And unconsciously, I was just modifying them because I was so bored. I wanted to have more fun playing them, so I put robots in, dinosaurs, and mechanics that make the game end, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so then I discovered Stratego after that, and I was like, little did I know I was a gamer by the time I was 11.
Okay.
And then I just kept making up little party game activities for my friends, played a lot of sports, and didn't formalize it until I played D&D in '98. Right?
Okay.
That was the thing that changed everything.
Yep.
I was a gamer for life at that point. I was a hobby gamer for life, and then Magic the Gathering hit. I was like, I'm doing this for a living. I
Yeah.
don't care how I'm doing it, but I'm doing it for a living.
Okay.
I reorganized my entire life,
Yep.
including where I lived, what jobs I took, where I stopped school early, just to picked the right jobs, just to be able to do this.
Okay. What was the first game you came out with? What was?
Well, published is I actually formed I formed a game company to publish my first game. It's called Mystic Domination.
Okay.
Actually, I think it was carried here in the UK because I'm good friends with the distributors here to run it. It's a tarot card game called Mystic Domination.
Okay.
And it came in 2 little decks. It was sort of a Euro game before I knew what Euro games were.
Yeah.
Just a quick little card game about transferring power between characters with tarot cards.
Yeah.
And then that game led me to my relationship with Fantasy Flight, actually.
Okay. Cool. And it's been going on ever since.
It has, yep.
Cool. Is this something you thought you'd be doing when you were like 11, 12?
No,
Radically
I
changed.
thought I was going to be a rock star, literally a rock star. I want to be I want to play in rock bands and
Right.
And stuff like that. I'm very glad I did not pursue that.
Do you still play musical instruments?
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. So it could happen in case this all goes wrong tomorrow.
Well, it's my
You're ready
side
to do
project.
Okay. So you design a lot of expandable games, sort of Dice Masters,
true, yep.
the Star Wars LCG. Do you find those easy to design?
No game is easy to design.
Okay.
And that's good, right?
Yeah.
Every game I do is harder to design than the last one because I feel like I got to top myself, right? And I want to make it better, whatever that means, than the game before. And also, like the bigger licenses that we get, the more pressure there is to do justice to it, right? Not only am I a fan of the license, but I know there are millions of other people like many of them, like myself, who have defining moments in their life based on that license, right? Star Wars, Lord of the Rings especially. No, not easy at all.
When you're designing these, do you ever look at the meta? So like if you've designed a few of the sets and then you see everyone's using this card or everyone's not using this card, does that ever take effect into the design for the later stuff?
Absolutely, yeah. So, but now for later sets in the game, I don't do the lead design on those anymore. That's actually run by FFG internally. They have very capable developers that own the game. I switched to more of a consulting role at that point. I ship them free ideas all the time, and we talk on Skype all the time. I do pay attention to the meta, and I give them notes on it. But ultimately, they're the guys that are in the trenches and making the final decisions, and it's better that way.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Do you have a favourite out of all the games you've designed? I know that's a horrible question to ask.
Well, I mean, it's a logical one, right? But my favorite game is generally, I mean, it's always the game I'm working on right now, right?
Yeah.
And it's not so much my favorite, but it's the game I'm obsessed with, right?
Yeah.
After and once I've been playing that game for a while, I burn out on it a little bit, and I don't play it for a while. So it takes a while to get back to. I just got back into Dice Masters again because we burned out heavily when we were playtesting at the beginning.
Can imagine.
We've had some time away, and I'm going back and playing it.
That's cool.
I'm pretty obsessed with it. I
Yeah.
love. I still play Warhammer Invasion
really?
a lot.
Okay.
That game is exactly my comfort zone as a player.
Yeah.
And I'm actually half decent at it. I'm terrible at all my other games. So
Yeah, you tweeted a list of the games you love but not good at, and then
Yeah.
games that you're good at.
That's true. Yeah, Invasion's one of them. Dice Master another one. Yeah, I'm terrible at Star Wars LCG. I mean, like rubbish. Absolutely awful. Yeah, Warhammer's one. The computer game Duelist that I'm working on, I'm actually pretty decent at.
Okay.
Which is unusual. Usually in development, I'm terrible at a game.
Cool.
I'm pretty obsessed with that one too.
Let's talk about Duelist then. I've just got into beta, thankfully, for a friend.
Oh, cool.
But I haven't played it yet. Can you describe the game?
So imagine the way the Hollywood pitch is Final Fantasy Tactics, Fire Emblem, Magic the Gathering, Hearthstone.
Okay, that's a good pitch.
It's a lot of my favorite things in life,
Yeah.
right? So it's these really awesome pixel sprite characters designed by Blizzard artists.
Okay.
Most of a big chunk of the team is ex-Blizzard guys, which is
Okay.
what attracted me to the project in the first place.
Yeah.
They have a real sense of fun, right? A sense of fun, and sense of cool. So these awesome little animated. So it's a card game. In all intents and purposes, you build a deck out of cards like you do with other games, but the cards turn into these awesome pixelated characters that, like crazy monsters and creatures and different races that fight each other.
Okay.
And you have a general. They have a general. You have to deal 25 damage to their general and summon units onto a board. It's a small square board that gives you a little bit of tactics. So it's one level above regular card games where
Yeah.
you're just putting cards down and fighting. Position plays a big part in this game. But it's also very simple, right? I simplified down a lot of the tactics in these type of games. Like for example, range just means you can hit anywhere. Flying means you can move anywhere. There's not different range movements and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because you're also managing a deck at the same time.
Yeah.
So the game has a lot of layers of complexity. I just wanted to make sure that that they synthesize well.
Okay, that's cool. How long have you been involved in that project?
About a year.
Okay.
About a year. We're just about to hit beta now. I'm the lead designer and developer for that game, and I'm very, very proud of it. I think it's hopefully it's going to make a splash.
Awesome. I can't wait to play it now.
Well, let me know what you think.
I will. So I've been following you on Twitter for a while, and I think it
I'm
was.
sorry.
I think about last year. I think you tweeted that you'd got rid of all your prototypes. Like you had you had a bank of ideas.
That's right. Yep.
And you one day you just said no. Let's start clean. In hindsight, was that still a good idea?
Yes, might be the best idea I've had in years. So there's a story for that, right? So what facilitated that, because it does sound insane, it is kind of insane, but what facilitated that was it was last year. There was a big game convention called Essen Spiel, which is in Germany.
Yeah.
I went to the show, and I always take one day to look at all the games in the show, see what's going on there. And I did that, and I was really bored. I'm just bored by everything. And which at the end of the show, I was kind of bummed out. I was like, why am I so bored? There's never been more creative, excellent games out there. So I determined the problem is me, not the games.
Yeah.
So I was burned out. And part of that was that I have this box of game ideas like every designer does, but I have like 150 at least games that are partially finished, in progress type of thing that I never got to. And you do pay a mental tax for every unfinished idea that you're working on. It drains you a little bit. So I decided at that point, before I flew home, I destroyed everything, physical and virtual. And yeah, it was cleansing. It was absolutely cleansing. And since then, not having that safety net anymore, I've just designed brand new games, not even thinking about any of the old stuff I did.
Okay.
And everything I'm doing now feels fresh, and it does feel like I've been not to be pretentious, but it feels like I've reinvented myself a little bit.
Oh, brilliant.
Even though like I'm the same guy, right?
Yeah.
I still have the same brain. I still I think the same way. But a lot of games I'm coming out with, like I would not have come out with if I still had all that extra baggage.
Yeah. How many sort of ideas have you got now? Then is it starting to build up again?
Yeah.
Is that a problem?
Yeah, it's back in the 20s, 30s again. But I'm working on, like always, I'm always working on what I think are the best ideas at any given time.
Yeah.
And if at any time I feel they're not, I just put them out in the back burner. I'm getting better at not multitasking as much as I used to, so I only work on about 3 or 4 games maximum. I used to work on like 10. That was insane. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But I work on 3 or 4 games at a time, leave them gestating for a while, but then I just finish them, and they either live or they die on the playtest table.
Okay.
So I will be finished. Actually, since that time, I think I've finished 3 games. So
Okay.
they'll be coming out some point late this year, early next year.
Oh, brilliant. That's good. Have any been announced yet?
Let me think. No.
Okay. Let's move on then.
No, unfortunately. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's fine. Okay, another favourite question.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favourite game mechanic right now? Even if you're playing or if you're designing, is there a specific
I don't have
type?
one.
Not
I
one?
don't. No, I don't think of game mechanics in isolation very much. Right?
Okay.
Like, I mean, there's things. There are play patterns, like combinations of mechanics or play styles that I gravitate to. Like I like games of bluffing. I like games about lying to your friends. I think
Yeah.
those are cool. It doesn't matter what mechanic they use, whether it's simultaneous card resolution or just straight up bluffing, or or doing risk management, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I do like risk management quite a bit.
Okay.
Right? Games like Can't Stop in its purest essence.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. Mechanics themselves, I've very, very seldom looked at mechanics and say, oh, that mechanic's really cool, right?
Yeah.
If the game around it is, I think if games is cool or not, right? And there might be clever bits in it, but funnily enough, very often, if I get really attracted to a mechanic in a game, usually that makes me get rid of the mechanic because I find it distracting.
Okay.
So if people play my game and they go like, that mechanic's really cool, and that's their only feedback, right? I'm like,
Okay.
all right, that's distracting them from the game. The game itself is supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be bigger than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
That causes me to get rid of that a lot.
Okay, that's really interesting. Cool. So let me word this. So for each game, are you trying to weave a narrative then for them to focus on more than the mechanic?
Well,
Is that
so? So I don't have a very specific goal. I want players to have fun and be taken away, transported away in any way whatsoever. Even if it's an abstract game, I want them to. In digital games, I want them to achieve flow, right? Where they lose all sense of time, and even though they're interacting with each other, that doesn't matter how long the game's actually been playing. They're completely lost. And I generally chip away parts that distract from that, which is either something administrative or something that's so clever it stands out, or that kind of thing. Not all games have to tell a story. In most cases, I prefer the players. I think a story, for example, my dragon did 25 damage to all of his guys and killed him in 2 turns. That's a perfectly fine story.
Yeah.
So in that sense, sure, absolutely a story. But I don't necessarily want them to, explore my brilliant narrative or something like that. I'm not that good a storyteller.
Okay. I'm sure if you tried, you might be.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. After the rock band, rock star.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly
storyteller.
Right. Exactly right. As Madonna's guitarist.
Okay, so for any budding game designers out there, do you have any advice? I'm sure you get asked this a lot.
Absolutely.
Is there one go-to piece of advice you give them?
So there's a lot of standard advice that's, play test your games, be professional, all that stuff, which absolutely, I agree with all that. I would, the piece of advice I'm giving people is take the time, really do the soul searching and understand your motivation for becoming a game designer. And do it in as much detail as you possibly can. Why do you want to become a game designer? What that does is it will inform your happiness level in the industry. So for example, I describe them these motivations fitting into 3 buckets, right? You're an artist, businessman, or a rock star. No coincidence there, but if you're an artist, your motivation is that you have something to prove to the world. There's a message you want to give, there's a challenge you want to have to to players. That's the artistic side. If you're a businessman, you want to run a good business. You want to make good money making games. And your victory condition is having a good, successful business. That's another thing. If you're a rock star, you want to be popular, right? You want, like, or whatever that means, right? You want to be the Axl Rose of gaming, right? Wow, that was a terrible example. Something else, right?
Yeah.
But all three, there's no value judgments on any of those. They're all perfectly valid, and everybody's a combination of some of the three of them. But the more you figure out what you're going to be, the more your decisions will, the more you'll understand how your decisions affect your happiness, right? So, for example, if you're an artist, if you really are an artist at heart, you don't want to be compromising, right? You don't want to be, you'll be getting, if you've got the talent, you'll be getting people offering you gigs for, here's a license that may not be a game that's going to challenge anybody, it's going to be very safe, but it'll make you a lot of money. You'll be miserable making that kind of game.
Yeah.
Right? So, but understanding that, you'll have the wherewithal to say, no, I won't do that game, right? Everybody, of course, everyone wants to be published, everyone wants to do that stuff, but in the long term, it's going to burn you out and not make you want to make games anymore.
Okay.
So understand that, and everything else will fall into place after that.
So it's about long-term happiness, and
I think so. I mean,
that will help you stay refreshed.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's lots of ways to make money that are not making games, right? So if you can make money by not making games, you probably should by not making games and keep it as a hobby. But like there's a part of me that envies like guys who do this part time, right? That just do it only for fun. They only get to do the fun part of it.
Yeah.
But if you need to be making games for a living, then you definitely should be. Then you should take that path.
Okay.
Right. I know it seems like a semantic difference, but I do believe that they are real differences.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't want to keep you too long, but we do have one last question for you.
Peanut butter.
Close. It is, how spicy do you like your cheeky Nando's?
I don't know what cheeky Nando's are, but
So there's a craze.
I'm gonna say medium hot.
Medium hot. I think that's a good answer. Eric, thank you so much for sitting down and chatting to us. I really
thank you.
appreciate it. Brilliant.